The Southeast is still reeling from the devastation of Hurricane Helene. More than 220 people have died, and hundreds are still unaccounted for since the Category 4 storm made landfall. The Biden-Harris administration says it has provided more than $45 million to survivors, and active duty service members have started delivering life-saving supplies to affected communities. Today, Vice President Harris will visit North Carolina to survey the impact of the hurricane and the ongoing relief efforts. Joining us now is North Carolina Attorney General and Democratic gubernatorial candidate for the state, Josh Stein. Welcome, General.
General Stein, just wondering, what have you been seeing on the ground across the state? What do you all still need? Can you just take us inside, if you will? We're seeing these devastating images on television, and we've now, folks have been able to do some interviews with folks, but you are there in the thick of it.
Yeah, it's hard to take an image and extrapolate to an entire region of the state, and that's exactly what's happened. Basically, if you were in a building near water, your life was completely ripped apart. I was talking with a very good buddy of mine today up in Avery County in the northwestern corner of the state, little community called Minneapolis. And the North Toe River, which is the river that runs through the county, completely reformed. It is no longer in the same path that it was before the storm. And the road, of course, went alongside the river. Dozens and dozens of homes are just gone. The utilities, the power, cell service, gone. So they are up there, isolated. They can get some supplies by cars, moving very slowly on one-lane reformed roads. But the Air National Guard and private citizens are dropping off water and food and other supplies. What he's worried about is winter is coming, and folks don't have clothes, they don't have blankets, they don't have sweatshirts. And so it's going to change in the coming days and weeks. They are in for the long haul. But this has really been an incredible story of resilience where the local community is taking care of each other. The volunteer firefighters, the professional firefighters in the towns have done unbelievable work for hours on end, caring for their neighbors, going to search for their neighbors. The Air National Guard is evacuating people who are on medication, but they no longer have their medication. So they're taking them to cities like Hickory, down the mountains, so that they can get the medical care they need to be healthy and well. FEMA is providing critical resources. So we are seeing the community, we're seeing local government, the nonprofits who are in this work are doing incredible work, feeding people who otherwise have no way to get food. And then you have the local governments, the state government, and the federal government. Everyone's working arm in arm to address what is a complete regional devastation.
General, you just laid out in very short order the heart of the devastation, but also the important impact that service and responses to that devastation, and what it means to the people in that community. And so it's very difficult at a time like this to layer in politics. You're running for office. The people on the ground, politicians on the ground are trying to position. But there's a call to a higher service in this moment like this. And I want to play for you the tale of two leaders, and I put leaders in quotation marks. I want you to hear the current president of the United States addressing what you've just laid out, and the former president who's running again to be president, and what he thinks of what's happening on the ground.
In a moment like this, we put politics aside. At least we should put it all aside, and we have here. There are no Democrats or Republicans, only Americans.
They are doing the worst job on a hurricane that any administration has ever done, and these people don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. People are saying it's the worst job, and you people know it. A lot of you people know it because you're here, but they've done the worst job. Kamala has done the worst job.
To me, it's just painful in a moment like this when the Americans need to come together. And as Joe Biden said, there are no Democrats, there are no Republicans, no independents. You're not the Democrat or Republican Attorney General of the state. You are the Attorney General of the state who needs to be of service at this moment. How do you get the job done in the face of the kind of ugliness coming out of people like Donald Trump and others in your state who question what FEMA's doing, blaming people and lying, outright lying, to the point that FEMA has to put on its website disclosures, statements that says, folks, this is what we're doing. These conspiracy theories are lies. How does that hurt the effort to help people and to prevent further harm to them?
Well, it undermines our collective effort to try to help folks in need. And the leaders on the ground, Governor Cooper in North Carolina, Governor McMaster's in South Carolina, Governor Kemp in Georgia, that's one Democrat and two Republicans. They don't care about party lines. They are doing everything they can to marshal the resources, whether it's local, nonprofit, state, or federal, to address what is real human suffering. My buddy up in Avery County said that these rumors about FEMA are going like wildfire. And that's incredibly devastating. It's devastating psychologically to those people because they now believe, some of them, that FEMA is going to be contrary to their interests rather than trying to help them get back on their feet and get their lives put together again. And it's just incredibly, incredibly irresponsible. I was at that briefing with the president on Wednesday, and he is leading. He, in that moment, guaranteed that FEMA would reimburse North Carolina for all of its cleanup costs over the next 6 months at 100% reimbursement, which means no one's worrying about how much is this going to cost, because they need to just get the job done. And to have that kind of support from President Biden at this incredibly trying time for, a tenth of our entire state, over 1 million people have been impacted. It's really important.
General, we've got to go, but I do want to make sure that we highlight this reporting that Mark Robinson didn't vote on the state's Helene emergency declaration. He's called on Governor Roy Cooper to deploy more resources to help people in Western North Carolina, but he was the only council of state member to not vote on Cooper's request to declare a state of emergency. Just real quick, what does that tell you?
Well, this isn't about politics. Those people in Western North Carolina, some of them are Democrats, some of them are Republicans, some of them are unaffiliated. They are all North Carolinians. They are all Americans, and they deserve 100% of our effort to try to help them.
North Carolina's Attorney General Josh Stein, thank you so much.
If you want to help victims of Helene, we've made it really, really easy. Just take out your smartphone and scan the QR code you see on your screen and follow the prompts from there. Help out if you can.